Right, another day in the cold shed. Right, okay, we're going to make a start on the fixed fork for the suspension. So what I've got here is the cardboard template that I've cut out just to transfer onto my plate steel. Sorry. So there you go. So you can see I've kind of traced it out already and just took a bit of a rough cut out of a bit of stock steel. So what I'll do is exactly the same with what I did with the perch plate. Just rough all this out as best as I can, file it down, and then just run the sander around it just to smooth it all off. Now these sections here are where the tubes or the fixed tubes are going to fit. So room in this shed. So it's going to fit there, one there, and one there. Now what I'd like to do is cut a radius out in the steel that's going to fit around the circumference of the tube, just so I've got a nice flush fit. So when I weld it up, it's just going to be a nice fit. So I'll probably do that with a hole saw. That's how I'm planning to do it. Whether it's going to work, we shall see. Okay, so I've done a bit more hacking and chopping of the upper section of the fixed fork. So I've just basically hacked it out a little bit more with hacksaw, and then in places I've just kind of nibbled away a bit with the grinder, and this is what I've come up with so far. I've also gone around it a little bit. I've flattened these sections out with a bit of a file, and I've rounded these radiuses out as well with a bit of a just a grinding bit. Now the plan was to actually run a hole saw down this section here. So I was going to run the hole saw down here to cut out a nice radius here and here to be able to fit get it right. So to be able to fit the fixed tube section, so that would have fitted in like that. That's just representations, not the real bit. So that would have fitted in like there nicely, and had just been really nice and flush to that piece of material there. Yeah, was not able to do that. So the drill press, I don't think it's got enough juice in it, and I think this hole saw's seen better days. So I think it's pretty much blunted at it. So yeah, wasn't having any of it. So what I've decided to do is just kind of flatten these off. I've filed them off nicely, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a section out here, and I think what I'm going to do is just basically put a stud in. So fit a stud that goes up, and I'll probably weld it off at the top here. So a nice fixed stud there and there, and then what I'll do is then fit the tube onto that and get it all welded up. It's probably a bit more overboard than it needs to be, but in my mind that just seems a bit safer, and I'd rather go that way. So that's the plan, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do next. Right, new addition to shaping my tools. So I did mention the other week that a few weeks ago now that I was going to make another tool. And here we have it. Oh god. Yeah, so it's a new, well not new, but it's a belt sander. So basically, yeah, I was doing fine with the drill press and the might help. So I was doing fine with the drill press and also the drum sander as well, but yeah, I wanted something that I was able to do flat edges with, so flat sanding. So as fine as the drill press was, like I said, I just needed something to do a flat edge with, so like that. It's not finished by all means, I've just kind of mackled it together kind of quickly so I could carry on with this project. I did spend a bit of time on the pulleys, but everything else is just pretty much welded together and chucked together with bits I've got hanging around, which is always good. So the bench grinder, this part here was basically the wet stone that I just didn't use. So it made perfect sense. So I can get some nice flat edges now. explain. Yes, so I've had a bit of an accident on the lathe, of all things, funny enough. Yeah, I was cutting a bit of mild steel and a few bits of stringy pieces of metal were coming off, and finished the last cut, and unfortunately one of these pieces of metal just got wrapped around a chuck and slid right past through one of my fingers. So it's left it with quite a deep cut. So the support is just to keep my arm raised, and yeah, my fingers are just basically bandaged together. And yeah, I've got a couple of surgical kind of sticky stitches in it just to hold it all together. Luckily, well, I'm going to say luckily, but the medical staff basically said it was such a nice clean cut, it should heal back together quite nicely. So yeah, that's all good. But I think I've mentioned in the past I'm not very good with blood, so yeah, I'll let A&E sort it out because I think I went pale. But yeah, it's on the mend. I've just got to be like this for a few, well, probably about a week or more. But hey ho. Anyhow, that's going to bring the video to a bit of a close here, unfortunately. To be fair, it's not a bad close because I've managed to put the kind of the spring, or the mock this springs up, should we say. I've had this all kind of replicated in CAD, and basically gone with rough kind of figures and dimension as to how much the springs were going to compress. So I modelled all that into CAD and how much everything's going to kind of fit together. But obviously CAD's not a kind of real world solution as to what's actually going on. So I needed to mock this up anyway, just to give me a real world idea as to what kind of, yeah, measurements. I'm going to go with that, measurements, dimensions, and how everything's going to fit together before I start welding it up. So yeah, I needed to do that anyway, and it's kind of come to a nice point. So yeah, really happy with that. Happy with how the springs are all set up. It is roughly mocked together, so I'm not going to leave these fixings here like that, and obviously those bearings are there just to give a bit of an example of what's going to go there, and obviously hold the springs in place for now. And it's funny actually, because I was actually machining up parts for this when this happened, so yeah. But yeah, we'll leave it for there for this episode. Next episode, what I think we'll be doing is I'll go into a little bit of the rockers, the fixed fork ends, and then hopefully get everything, or start getting into the process of welding everything up and get it kind of all in a jig. And yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully we'll have a bit of an assembly. Right then guys, we're going to leave it here for this episode. I'd like to thank the new subscribers, much appreciated, and my current subscribers as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you are watching the build series and enjoying it, please drop a like, a subscription, that would be greatly appreciated. I am getting quite close to a little personal goal for the channel now, and yeah, if I could get to that, that'd be great. So yeah, if you are enjoying it guys, just drop me that subscribe, that like, much appreciated. I'd also like to thank one of my subscribers for donating an item to the channel. They wish to remain anonymous, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, not a problem. But I'd still like to say thank you to them. So they've donated this workshop vise. I did have a workshop vise, a smaller one, but this is a bit more of a hench one. So yeah, really happy with that, and much appreciated. So thank you very much for that. So until then guys, thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying what I'm doing, and I'll see you in the next episode.